Coming up on Mountain News this morning, yesterday Governor Andy Beshear and Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman took the public oath of office at the Capitol in Frankfort. And a third Kentucky school district is filing a lawsuit against e-cigarette companies, asking them to compensate for schools' efforts to educate youth in the dangers. And a woman woke up to noises coming from the cellar under her house only to find a stranger and a young child.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 5:30 on December 11th. I'm Madison Pergram, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News This Morning. So if you're waking up on this Wednesday morning, you might be waking up to a little bit of snow, some in more places than others. But Brandon, I mean, it came down pretty hard here in Hazard a couple times throughout the evening.
It did, and it was coming down across a big chunk of the area. I think the closer you got to the Kentucky-Virginia border there and Tennessee border, the more you got. But a lot of folks didn't get anything last night or yesterday afternoon. It stayed rain for a long time, flakes flying, but the only spots that we see on the cameras with snow on the ground is Buffalo Mountain here in Perry County. Moon out there, so skies are clearing quickly, and those temperatures are going down at least with those. 21 now, Irvin, Moorhead, Monticello, areas where the clouds are not. 23 in Wise, 24 Pikeville, 27 in Hazard, and 24 in Middlesboro. Looking at some wind chills this morning, yeah, it's a little bit of a wind chill. Feels like 15 right now in Moorhead, 18 in Jackson, and 15 in Wise. Your day planner, slow decline today. We're going to get into the upper 30s after lunchtime, but it's going to be a sunny day, so hopefully all this will melt off, or at least some of it will melt off, but it looks like a winter wonderland this morning. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, yesterday, Governor Andy Beshear and Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman took to the public oath of office at the Capitol in Frankfort. As of midnight Tuesday, Andy Beshear came to the first father-son duo, along with his father, Steve, to serve as governors of Kentucky. The governor's message was about forging on, turning the tide in Kentucky, where everyone works together. Beshear's faith was attacked on the campaign trail, and yesterday he made it a point, along with his wife and kids, to point out that their faith is strong. And when he said that, he received his loudest applause of the afternoon.
My faith teaches me to treat others with dignity and respect. My faith also teaches me forgiveness. That's why on Thursday I will sign an executive order restoring voting rights to over 100,000 men.
Governor Beshear also mentioned he appointed new members to the Kentucky Board of Education Tuesday morning, another focal point of his election message. And it is a trip that has become a familiar one to Kentucky teachers. At the start of the year, they flooded the Capitol rallying against legislation. Yesterday, they were back, but with a new hope, and they played a big role during yesterday's inauguration. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has their story.
These doors will remain open.
Just so happy to see Governor Beshear in office and to know that he stands behind public education, he stands behind teachers, he stands behind the children and the people of Kentucky.
Teachers say they feel a part of the process again. And the governor says he's going to fulfill a campaign promise of a $2,000 across-the-board raise and submitting that proposal in his executive budget. But money aside, teachers say they simply feel they have reason to hope again.
I feel like hope has been restored in this state. We have all talked about it. Every time we came to Frankfort, it was frustration and irritation.
There'll be a lot of work to do, and it could be difficult for some changes to happen. But they say they think respect has been restored.
We've had a bad couple of years here in the past, even the last 4 years, but the last two especially have been very challenging, very difficult for all teachers and especially retired teachers. So I'm very hopeful.
Governor Beshear is already facing a lawsuit on his first day in office after he issued an executive order reorganizing the State Board of Education. The current members are challenging Beshear's order. And a third Kentucky school district is filing a lawsuit against e-cigarette companies. Jefferson County Public Schools follows Bullitt and Fayette County school districts in suing Juul and other e-cigarette manufacturers. The suit asks the companies to compensate the time and resources the school district has used to educate and discipline students using vaping products. And one store in Prestonsburg is full of school spirit, or the spirit of former schools. WYMT's Buddy Forbes caught up with the store owner in Prestonsburg, who has launched a line of shirts that are the talk of the town.
When it comes to design, the Mountain Muse is keeping it old school, literally.
Vintage is back, and I'm glad.
With a recently launched t-shirt project celebrating schools around the area that were closed in consolidation moves.
All these schools that no longer exist, they have their alumni pages. And occasionally somebody posts one of their old t-shirts and be like, man, I wish I could find one in my size.
An idea that has received attention from many people. Like Maytown graduate Jim Stewart.
People show up to every game, and it was great. It meant something. And Maytown, the community, meant something.
Who says the nostalgia of the shirts speaks volumes for the history of the area.
The principal was my uncle. My aunt was a librarian. My mom taught home ec. Another aunt taught English. So, you know, Maytown School means a lot to me. I grew up with the Maytown School, and it was part of my whole life.
While shoppers say the new shirts are a cool idea, store owner Heather Owens says she is mostly excited that the designs come from the original shirts.
The fact that it was possible to first get these t-shirts printed locally by the same people who printed them locally 30 years ago is even cooler.
Preserving even more history. In Floyd County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Floyd County school designs are available, but Salyersville and Pike County schools are already on Owens' radar. She says dropping by the store on Prestonsburg Front Street next to Billy Ray's is a good way to see the growing collection. And housing and food will cost more at UK next school year. The Lexington Herald Leader reports the university's Board of Trustees approved the increase yesterday. Dining prices will go up about 3%, and depending on the building, housing prices will increase by between 2 and 3%. It's not clear if tuition will go up, and any changes in those prices will likely be announced in the spring. And early Tuesday morning, a woman woke up to noises coming from the cellar under her house. When she and her son went outside, they found Christopher Stutes and his 3-year-old daughter hiding from a sheriff's deputy. WYMT's Katie Cook talked with the woman and her son and explains what happened.
Selma Helton was sitting in bed when she heard the sound of a child crying under her house.
Well, it scared me to death. I didn't know what to do.
Thelma and her son went outside to find Christopher Stutes and his 3-year-old daughter hiding in their cellar.
Come here, look here. Back in there, what a cellar. That's where they went to, Cece, back in there.
Police say Stutes ran away with the child after assaulting a woman earlier that night.
She stated that Mr. Stutes had choked her and also threw her, I think, either into a wall or through a wall.
At the time, a deputy drove by the house and Franklin Sizemore flagged him down by blinking a light.
I've seen them flag us down with that or even porch lights. We've, went on calls and people start flashing their porch light. So we know, whoa, something's going on here, we need to stop.
Police say Stutes tried to run away when the deputy arrived.
Yeah, they went down his field right there.
But was soon found and arrested, the 3-year-old child in the middle of it all.
No socks, no coat, nothing but a t-shirt over it.
But thanks to good timing, the child is now safe, and Christopher Stutes is behind bars at the Knox County Jail. In Knox County, Katie Cook, WYMT Mountain News.
Deputies say Christopher Stutes attempted to escape the cruiser, breaking off the door panel in the process. He is now facing charges for that as well. And in Tennessee, parents and grandparents of students at one Claiborne County school are concerned after they said they were not notified about the situation involving a teacher who has been charged with 16 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. Records show Aaron James Ellison is accused of sending and receiving lewd images with a 13-year-old girl between August and November of 2019. Ellison was arrested on December 3rd, and one grandmother spoke to reporters at her sister station, WVLT, concerned that instead of being notified by officials at HY Livesay Middle School, she's found out from her granddaughter, saying, quote, every kid in the school seems to know the story, but none of us parents have been notified by the school board, which I find highly unusual. Claiborne County Schools says that Ellison is suspended without pay at this time and that the school system has guidelines in place on how to handle situations relating to allegations of sexual misconduct. And in Pulaski County, the Somerset Police Department is asking for help identifying a man. They say he may have information about an incident the police are investigating, and they need to ask him some questions. If you know who he is, please call 911 or contact the Somerset Police Department. And a shooting erupted in a New Jersey neighborhood yesterday, paralyzing city streets for hours. When it was over, 6 people, including a police officer, were dead. The incident began at a cemetery where police stopped 2 people for questioning. The police chief says that's where the officer was shot. Before the suspects barricaded themselves inside a supermarket and opened fire with high-powered rifles. When it ended, police found 5 people dead inside.
We believe 2 of them are bad guys, and we believe 3 of them are not. That may be civilians that were inside the store.
A short time ago, we learned that the Jersey City mayor believes gunmen targeted the Jewish market that was the scene of the deadly standoff. The officer who died was a 15-year veteran and a father of 5. And the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, has released its annual Arctic report card detailing the effects of climate change. Scientists say ice in the Arctic is melting at an alarming rate as a result of climate change. And according to the agency's annual report card, average temperatures in the Arctic were the 2nd hottest record since 1900, when record keeping began.
There's less and less snow, and there's less and less ice. And that means trouble, not only us hunting and fishing, but the animals that we depend on.
New research also finds Greenland's ice sheet is melting 7 times faster than the 1990s. The ice loss could contribute to widespread coastal flooding in the years to come. And police in New Zealand believe 8 people still unaccounted for died when a volcano erupted Monday. That would bring the number of dead to 14. 47 people, including 9 Americans, were on the island popular with tourists when it erupted. Rescuers say survivors ran into the sea to escape the scalding steam and ash and emerged covered in burns. Crews have put a pause on recovery efforts due to a 50-50 chance that the volcano will erupt again. Well, coming up, after 3.5 decades, Pee Wee Herman is set to go on another big adventure.
We're getting a break from the rain and snow for a couple of days, but more chances are in the extended forecast. I'll have that for you in about 3 minutes.